Ladies and gentlemen, there was a man, let's call him James. James was successful, smart, and ambitious. He had everything the world told him he needed: money, recognition, influence. But one night, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw a message in bright, bold letters. God said, "Please watch this video before April 4, 2025. Now, James wasn't particularly religious. He believed in something greater, sure, but this message felt urgent. It felt personal. He woke up with a strange sense of curiosity. What could this mean? What was so important that God himself would send a message with a deadline? Clarity is everything. Most people go through life without ever truly understanding why they do what they do. They wake up, go to work, follow routines, chase goals that society has set for them, without stopping to ask the most fundamental question: why? Clarity is everything. Without it, we drift. Without it, we follow paths that lead us to destinations we never intended to reach. Without it, we climb ladders that are leaning against the wrong walls. And yet, so many of us continue moving forward blindly, hoping that one day we'll stumble upon purpose, fulfillment, and meaning. But that's not how it works. Clarity isn't something we find. It's something we create. It's something we cultivate with intention. It's something we commit to discovering. Think about the people who inspire you the most: leaders, innovators, world changers. What do they all have in common? It's not just intelligence, talent, or hard work. It's clarity. They know exactly why they are doing what they do, and that clarity drives every decision they make. When you lack clarity, life feels like a constant struggle. Every decision feels overwhelming because you're not sure if you're making the right one. Every setback feels like a failure instead of a lesson because you don't have a bigger vision guiding you. Every success feels empty because you don't know what it's really leading toward. Clarity is the foundation upon which all great things are built. It's the compass that keeps you moving in the right direction. Without it, you may still move, but you'll never truly know if you're heading towards something meaningful. There's a story about a man who spent his entire life chasing financial success. He worked long hours, made sacrifices, and eventually became very wealthy. But as he neared the end of his life, he realized something. He had no idea why he had done any of it. He had spent decades working toward a goal without ever questioning whether it was his goal or one that the world had chosen for him. He had money but no fulfillment. He had success but no peace. And he wondered, what was it all for? This is the reality that many people face, but they don't see it until it's too late. Clarity prevents this from happening. When you have clarity, you don't chase things just because the world tells you to. You chase things that actually mean something to you. You wake up every day with a sense of purpose. You make decisions with confidence. You live a life that aligns with who you truly are. Clarity doesn't come from external success. It comes from internal reflection. It requires you to stop and ask yourself hard questions. It requires you to strip away the noise, the expectations, the distractions, and get to the core of who you are. What do you believe in? What do you stand for? What kind of impact do you want to make? What is the one thing that if you didn't do it, you would regret for the rest of your life? These questions aren't always easy to answer. They require honesty, vulnerability, and courage. They require you to admit that maybe you've been chasing the wrong things. But the moment you get clear on your purpose, everything changes. Decisions become easier. Motivation becomes natural. Obstacles become challenges to overcome rather than reasons to quit. Imagine you're standing in a vast open field at night. There's no map, no signs, no directions, just darkness stretching in every direction. You can start walking, but you have no idea where you're going. That's what life without clarity feels like. Now imagine, in the distance, you see a small light. It's faint, but it's there. It's your why, your purpose. The moment you recognize that light, you know where to go. The path is still long, and there will be challenges along the way, but you're no longer wandering. You're moving with intention. You're moving with clarity. Clarity isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing the right direction. It's about understanding what matters most and letting go of everything that doesn't align with that. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who have the most talent. They're the ones who have the most clarity. Because clarity feels consistency, it feels resilience, it feels impact. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, stop. take a step back. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's what I truly want, or am I doing it because I think I'm supposed to? Be honest with yourself, because the sooner you gain clarity, the sooner you start living the life you were meant to live. Fear is a liar. Fear has been the greatest thief of potential in human history. It has stopped dreams before they even had the chance to be spoken. It has silenced voices before they ever had the courage to sing. It has kept people trapped in lives they don't love, jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, and routines that suffocate them. Fear whispers lies into our ears, and the tragedy is that most of us believe them. Fear says, "You're not ready." So we wait. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect skill set, the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan. But that moment never comes, because readiness isn't a prerequisite for greatness. Action is. Every person who has ever done something meaningful started before they felt ready. Every leader who changed the world began while they still had doubts. If we wait for fear to disappear before we move, we'll never move at all. Fear says, "You're not enough." It convinces us that we lack something, that we don't have what it takes. It tells us we need more experience, more education, more resources, more confidence. But the truth is, everything we need is already inside us. We were created with everything necessary to fulfill our purpose. What we lack isn't ability, it's belief. Fear tricks us into thinking we need external validation, when all we really need is internal conviction. Fear says, what if you fail? And the answer is simple. You will. At some point you will stumble. You will make mistakes. You will get knocked down. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a prerequisite for it. Every success story is built on a foundation of failures. Every great leader, every world changer, every innovator has failed more times than they can count. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. Fear tries to make failure feel permanent, but failure is only final if you stop. Fear says, people will judge you, and maybe they will, but the people who judge the loudest are usually the ones doing the least. Critics sit in the stands while the brave step into the arena. The greatest people in history were ridiculed before they were respected. The dreamers were doubted before they were admired. The visionaries were questioned before they were followed. Fear wants you to believe that other people's opinions matter more than your purpose. But here's the truth. The people who judge you today will either be inspired by you tomorrow or will be too busy staying stuck where they are to matter. Fear says, stay where it's safe. It convinces us that comfort is the goal, that if we can just stay secure, avoid risks, and play it safe, we'll be happy. But safety is a trap. Comfort zones are prisons disguised as sanctuaries. We were not created for small, safe, predictable lives. We were made to build, to create, to lead, to inspire, to make a difference. Fear tells us that discomfort is a bad thing, but discomfort is the birthplace of growth. The greatest breakthroughs happen when we step into the unknown, when we push beyond what we thought we were capable of, when we stop letting fear dictate our choices. Fear is a liar. It promises protection but delivers regret. It convinces us to stay still, but in doing so it robs us of life. It tells us we need certainty, but certainty is an illusion. The only way to defeat fear is to move despite it, to feel it and keep going anyway, to recognize that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more than fear. Every time fear whispers in your ear, you have a choice. You can listen and shrink, or you can ignore it and step forward. The people who change the world are not the ones who are fearless. They are the ones who refuse to let fear control them. The world needs what you have. Every single person on this planet has something unique to offer. A gift, a talent, an idea, a perspective, something that no one else can bring in the exact way that you can. But too many people go through life convinced that what they have isn't valuable enough, that their voice isn't strong enough, that their story isn't important enough, and because they believe that lie, they keep their gifts hidden, their voices silent, and their potential locked away. The world is suffering not because we lack talent, intelligence, or creativity, but because too many people are too afraid to share what they have. We live in a world where problems seem overwhelming, where challenges feel too big, and where it's easy to believe that one person can't make a difference. But history tells us otherwise. Every major breakthrough, every revolution, every movement, and every transformation started with one person who decided to show up and give what they had. One person who refused to believe the lie that they were too small to matter. One person who understood that even the smallest spark has the power to ignite a wildfire. Some people believe that their contribution is insignificant because they compare themselves to others. They look at leaders, influencers, and people who seem to be making a huge impact, and they convince themselves that their role is too small in comparison. But impact isn't measured in size, it's measured in authenticity. A teacher who inspires a single student can change the world just as much as an entrepreneur who builds a billion-dollar company. A kind word at the right time can alter the course of someone's life just as much as a groundbreaking invention. The world doesn't need more people trying to be famous. It needs more people willing to be faithful to their calling. Too often, people hold back because they are waiting for permission. They wait for someone to validate them, to confirm that they are talented enough, smart enough, or experienced enough to contribute. But waiting for permission is the fastest way to bury your gifts. No one is coming to tell you that you are ready. No one is coming to hand you a golden ticket and say, now is your time. The only person who can decide that your gift is worth sharing is you. The moment you stop waiting and start giving what you have, you step into the reason you were created. Every person's journey is different. Some people were meant to lead, others were meant to serve. Some were meant to create, others were meant to heal. Some were meant to speak, others were meant to listen. But no matter what your role is, it is essential. The world is incomplete without it. When you refuse to step into your calling, it's not just you who loses, others lose as well. There are people whose lives will be changed because of what you offer, but they may never receive that gift if you choose to hold back. Think about the people who have influenced you the most, the books that changed your mindset, the leaders who inspired you, the mentors who guided you, the friends who encouraged you. Now imagine if they had chosen to stay silent, to keep their gifts to themselves, to shrink back in fear. Your life would be different because what they had was meant for you. In the same way what you have is meant for someone else. The world is full of problems, but it is also full of solutions waiting to be shared. You are one of those solutions. You have a perspective that no one else has, a way of seeing the world that no one else does, a voice that can reach people in a way that no one else can. If you choose to stay silent, the world will never know what it missed. But if you choose to step forward, you may be the answer someone has been waiting for. The choice is yours. Every single day we are faced with choices. Some are small and seem insignificant. What to wear, what to eat, what route to take to work. Others are bigger, whether to take a risk, whether to pursue a dream, whether to let go of something that no longer serves us. But what most people don't realize is that even the smallest choices, when repeated over time, shape the entire course of our lives. Every decision we make is either moving us closer to who we were meant to be or pulling us further away from it. And at the core of it all is one undeniable truth. The choice is yours. It's easy to believe that life just happens to us, that circumstances decide our fate. It's easy to blame our past, our environment, or the obstacles in front of us, but the most successful, fulfilled, and purpose-driven people in the world didn't have fewer challenges than the rest of us. They just made different choices. They chose to move forward when fear told them to stand still. They chose to act when doubt whispered that they weren't ready. They chose to believe in something greater than their limitations, and because of that, they created lives of impact instead of regret. We are all given the same 24 hours in a day, but what we do with them makes all the difference. Some people use those hours to pursue their purpose, while others use them to avoid discomfort. Some people take action while others make excuses. Some choose growth while others choose to remain the same. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about choice. The choices we make day after day determine the future we create. One of the most dangerous choices a person can make is to do nothing, to stay in the same place, to keep waiting for the right time. But time doesn't wait. Days turn into months, months turn into years, and before we know it, we are looking back, wondering where the time went. We think we have more time than we do, but the truth is, every moment we delay is a moment we can never get back. Every dream postponed is a dream that may never be realized. Every opportunity ignored is an opportunity that may never come again. People often wait for a sign, they wait for absolute certainty, they wait for someone else to give them permission. But the greatest breakthroughs don't come from waiting, they come from choosing. They come from deciding that even without all the answers, even with all the fears and doubts, moving forward is the only option. There is no perfect moment, there is no guaranteed success, but there is a choice to step forward anyway. Regret is not born from failure, it is born from inaction. It is not the things we tried and failed at that haunt us the most. It is the things we never tried at all. The relationships we never mended, the words we never said, the risks we never took, the dreams we never chased. Fear fades over time, but regret grows. And at some point we must ask ourselves, are we willing to live with the regret of never trying? You have the power to change your life. You have the ability to decide that today is the day things shift, that today is the day you stop waiting and start doing, that today is the day you choose purpose over comfort, action over excuses, courage over fear. No one can make that choice for you. No one can force you to step into the life you were created for. But if you don't, no one else will do it for you. The choice is yours. It always has been. And the moment you truly understand that, everything changes. Time is running out. Time is the one thing we all have in common, yet it's also the one thing we take for granted the most. We assume there will always be another day, another opportunity, another chance to do what we keep putting off. But the truth is, time is not guaranteed. It moves forward without waiting for us to catch up. And every moment that passes is a moment we can never get back. We often live as if we have an unlimited supply of time. We say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll chase my dream when the timing is right. But weeks turn into months, months into years, and suddenly we find ourselves looking back at a life filled with missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Time doesn't ask for permission, it just moves. And if we're not careful, we wake up one day realizing that the things we thought we would do someday were never done at all. Imagine yourself years from now looking back on your life. What will you see? Will you see a person who took risks, who pursued purpose, who made an impact? Or will you see someone who let fear, doubt, and hesitation steal the life they were meant to live? The future version of you is shaped by the choices you make today, and the most dangerous thing you can do is assume you have more time than you actually do. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that we are too busy. We use busyness as an excuse to delay what truly matters. We fill our days with distractions, obligations, and routines that keep us comfortable but unfulfilled. We convince ourselves that there will be a better time to start, a more convenient time to step out in faith. But busyness is not the same as progress. Being occupied is not the same as being purposeful. Every day spent doing things that don't align with your true purpose is a day wasted. The truth is, we never know how much time we have left. We assume we will live long enough to achieve our dreams, repair broken relationships, or finally step into the calling placed on our lives. But the reality is, tomorrow is not promised. Every day is a gift, an opportunity, a chance to take one more step toward becoming the person you were meant to be. Think about the people who left this world too soon. People who had dreams, talents, and potential that were never fully realized. What if they had known their time was short? Would they have waited? Would they have hesitated? Or would they have lived with urgency, with intention, with passion? The tragedy is not death itself, but a life that was never truly lived. Too many people live with the idea that they have plenty of time to do what matters most, but time is like sand slipping through our fingers. We cannot control it, we cannot slow it down, we cannot buy more of it. The only thing we can do is use it wisely while we have it. Every second you hesitate, every moment you procrastinate, every day you delay is a day you can never get back. The question is not whether time is running out, the question is, what are you going to do with the time you have left? Will you continue waiting, hoping, and postponing, or will you make the decision today to live with urgency, to act boldly, to chase what matters? Because the clock is ticking, and the only thing worse than running out of time is realizing too late that you never truly used it.